Hi there, it's Jennifer, and I'm here today to do an update on my New Year's goals. Here we are, the end of September. I don't know when this video is going up, probably beginning of October, but it's time to check in because we only have 3 more months until the end of the year. If you watched any of my past videos, I did a 3-month update, and then of course last December, was it? I think it was the end of December is when I put up my goals for 2015. I don't like to do resolutions. I feel like just the idea of doing a resolution usually is that, we set ourselves up to fail. Normally we make these big sweeping goals. I'm gonna lose 50 pounds, I'm gonna, whatever. And then we don't have a real plan for knocking that out. We get started all gung-ho the first few weeks of the new year, and then usually a month into the new year, we give up on them. And maybe we just, life gets in the way, and then we decide, oh, I can't do this. And so we just completely give up on that resolution. By having a New Year's goal or New Year's goals, I find for myself that it helps me to think about them as being more flexible. If I have not been as good about doing one thing, maybe I need to make some changes to that. Sometimes we get into things and we're not very realistic. And so we can still be successful in accomplishing goals, even if we make changes to them. And I'm definitely having to make some changes because certain things haven't worked out. So I thought I would share those things with you. I separated my goals for this year into 3 categories: spiritual, personal, and physical. So my physical goals, I had set that I was going to do 3 races this year. Now, I am a long distance walker. You may have seen my series on long distance walking. And so I said I would do 2 half marathons and 1 other race. It could be a 5K, could be a full marathon. But I really wanted to do that. I knew that by setting those goals to do those races that I would be disciplined enough to keep up with the training for those things. So if you have not been a walker, just to throw in a goal of doing 2 half marathons could be way too big. You may want to start with saying that you're going to walk 2 to 3 days a week just to get yourself started out the door. You don't want to make these unrealistic goals, but you can always change them. That's the great thing about goals, is that you can adapt them. So how have I done so far? Well, in January, I did my first half marathon. It was P.F. Chang's Rock and Roll half marathon in Phoenix. I did that one. And then I did another half marathon in August. It was a local race here in my town. You may have seen the vlog for that one. It was the muddiest race I've ever done. It was a trail race and it rained like crazy the night before. We were just slogging through mud the whole way. Slowest race I've ever done, but we finished it. It was for a good cause, and my friend and I finished, and so there are my 2 half marathons. So I have 1 race left to go, and I'm already registered for it. It is the Hot Chocolate 15K. This is a race that's 9.3 miles. It takes place in Scottsdale in December, and the nice thing about that is that it's going to be leading up to a full marathon that I'm actually going to be doing in January. The Hot Chocolate 15K has a tighter time limit on it, so it will really push our pace, which will be nice. We will already have been up to about maybe 16 or 18 miles training for our full marathon by that point, but this will be a shorter distance, but we'll really be pushing our pace. So I'm almost there, and I will accomplish that goal because I'm registered for the last one. So that one's good. Okay, didn't have to make any changes to that one. So next we're gonna go to spiritual goals. I said that I was going to participate in a women's Bible study at my church, and that I was also gonna read through the Bible in a year, the New Testament in a year, and also do this devotional called My Utmost for His Highest. It's a daily devotional kind of thing. This is one where I've had to make some changes. I did complete the women's Bible study. It was a 12-week study that went from, January through April or something like that. I don't know when it was. But anyway, it was a really good study. I wanted to do it. First of all, I was interested in the study itself, and second of all, I just thought it would be nice to meet some other women at my church, so I did that. The reading through the Bible in a year and reading that devotional started out good. I got behind at one point, got myself caught back up. Things were going along just fine. And then There's a girl who works with my husband, and we're friends with, her husband. She and her husband are friends with us. And she contacted me and asked me if I would do a Bible study with her. And then we also had these other friends who were interested in doing a kind of a couples Bible study with us. And I thought, you know what? I'm just not going to be able to stay on top of all of this. So I decided that I was going to not do the New Testament in a year and this other devotional, and instead do the 2 studies with the other people who asked us to do them. The whole idea of making the goal of doing those things that would take a year to do was to keep myself on top of just reading the Bible, and connecting with God. And so that was the idea. The idea was not just to see if I could get through the New Testament in a year. It was really for that reason. And because now I have these 2 other studies that we're working on, those are taking the place of that. So I, pretty significantly shifted that goal, but for good reason. And it's moving along fine. So there you go. And then my last was personal goals. Okay. In one way, I'm really behind or haven't even started on one of them. And another one I'm a little bit behind on. So my personal goals were to read 8 books in a year, just any books, and also to make a batch of hard cheese. I know that sounds really funny, but I've made batches of soft cheese before, mozzarella cheese, and I thought it would be fun to try out making hard cheese. Well, my big obstacle with making hard cheese is that when I really got into looking at the instructions, you need to have a cheese press. A way of, once you make up your cheese, a way of pushing out as much moisture as possible. And it, if you're putting bricks and trays and all that kind of stuff, it looked like it was going to be difficult to do. There's also a thing that you can buy that's called a cheese press that puts a certain amount of weight. You can kind of crank the thing and it puts a certain amount of weight on the cheese to push the liquid out of it. Those are fairly expensive. I think I'll probably get one in the future, but it's not going to happen for 2015. So that is out the door. But I'm not throwing that goal out the door completely. What I've decided is that in place of making a batch of hard cheese, that I'm going to make 3 batches of soft cheese. I'm going to make another thing of mozzarella, and I will do a video on my other channel, My Flagstaff Home, that shows that. And then I thought I would try a couple of others, like making cream cheese and then maybe ricotta cheese. And I've not made those, and they don't require a press. So I've kind of changed that out, and I am going to do that before the end of the year. And then the last thing was the reading 8 books. At this point, I'm only at 5. So I have 3 more to go, and I'm gonna have to just make time. I haven't been making time. My biggest thing that I have found that's been a problem with reading, and I like reading, it's just I have so many other hobbies and things I like to do that it takes away from the time I have to read. So my biggest thing is that I need to go to bed earlier so I have some time to read before I go to sleep. And the other thing that my husband and I just started doing last week is having one night a week that we're calling reading night. So we eat our dinner and then the TV never comes on, and we just spend the rest of the evening just reading whatever book we're into. And so I'm hoping that by doing that, I'll be able to get to my 8 books by the end of 2015. If not, and I get to 7, that's not bad either. So at least the goal is moving me along in what I was wanting to do, which was just to read for enjoyment more. So there you go. I hope that your goals for 2015 are coming along fine. If you've gotten to a point where you've sort of given up on something, that it just seems like there's just no way, then just adapt it, change it. Just, do something different, make it different. Accomplish something. That's kind of the whole point here, is to just get farther into something than you would have otherwise. So in December, I will do my goals for 2016. At that time, I will do a brief summary of how I did wrapping up 2015. And I really need to be thinking about what I want to do for my goals for 2016. But I have several months to do that. So I will be thinking about things to do in those categories: personal, spiritual, and physical. Those are the ones that I've been kind of doing the last few years, and I'll be thinking of some goals for that. I'd love to hear about some of your ideas for goals or the things that maybe you've set a goal and you accomplished it this year. I'd love to hear about that. So please feel free to comment in the space below. And go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you're interested in having YouTube notify you when I upload new videos, which is several times a week. Got a bunch of stuff coming up here, you guys. I've got a travel series going on right now. I'm still doing my long distance walking series. And then of course I have things about makeup reviews and beauty product stuff. So I hope you'll come along with me on Busy Being Jen. We'll see you again, you guys. Bye-bye.